There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting.
Everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Matt, and I am joined, as always, by my good friend and co-host, Susie. Hey, Susie.
Hi. I'm doing really good. How about you? How's your week?
It's going well so far. How about yours?
Nice. Pretty good. It's only Tuesday, so I don't want to be too optimistic, but things are going pretty well.
Well, I mean, that's good, I guess.
I don't know. It's too early to tell, but so far so good.
Well, that's good. So far, so
But I think it's going to be a good week. We have a lot of exciting things coming up this week. I'm very excited about some stuff happening on Friday regarding Disney Plus, but we can get to all of that later in the show.
Oh, I was like, wait, what's going on Disney Plus this Friday? I mean, other than our Friday night movies.
Well, that I'm very excited about, but there is something related to tonight's episode that's happening on Friday. There's the making of a certain show that we're talking about tonight that's coming out on Disney Plus on Friday.
That's what I thought you were talking about, but then I was like, wait, Falcon and Winter Soldier isn't this week.
Oh, shoot. No, that's next week. Oh my gosh. No, I can't wait till we talk about that. That's going to be really fun. But yeah, it's a good week so far. Lots of things looking forward to, but
yeah,
like tonight, I love Tuesdays.
Tuesdays are great. And there was a Disney shareholders meeting today. There was a lot.
What?
I had another one. So yeah, there were a lot of updates. Disneyland is reopening.
Yay! So oh my gosh.
Last week we talked about the limited event that they're going to be having, and that is still taking place.
Yeah.
But they did officially announce that sometime, probably in late April, Disneyland will open back up at limited capacity.
Very limited capacity.
Very limited.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exciting news. Avengers Campus will not be opening when it reopens. So that'll be coming later this year. And it does make sense.
It's worth the wait. You don't want something like that right now when everyone is still like very unsure of venturing back out into the world. Yeah, I would expect they wait quite a while on that, even after they get back to a certain level of capacity.
Yeah, and also the more news for Disney World as well. We've been waiting for this one for a little bit, and some people were a little surprised, probably.
I'm a little surprised.
When I think about it, though, it makes sense. So probably the same reason why Avengers Campus isn't reopening yet. So Ratatouille, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So this is the clone of the ride over in Disneyland Paris, which will be opening at Epcot October 1st, 2021.
Yeah.
And will coincide with the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. And yeah, so I have a theory.
Yeah, hit us with it.
I think the ride is ready.
Oh, the ride is totally ready.
I think the ride is ready. There is historical precedent for this, too. When Toontown, Mickey's Toontown, opened in Disneyland, it did not open with Roger Rabbit's cartoon, 2 words, cartoon spin, but it was ready. It was ready to go. It literally was mothballed for a year.
Gracious.
And they used it as a marketing ploy to get locals back into the parks. So,
and see, any other normal circumstance, I would agree with that. Number one, I don't think there's anything that would need to tempt people to come back into the parks. I think they're ready to get up and go as soon as they literally can. But number two, with all the stuff that Universal has going on and all that they're announcing and the Velocicoaster, I would have thought that they would be like trying to hype things up for a nice little summer boost at Disney World. But this also makes me nervous that nothing else that was supposed to be ready by the 50th is going to be ready by the 50th, including the other big Epcot attraction, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why they pushed this. Of the 3, well, there are 4 big projects. Epcot as a whole, I think it can be considered a project in and of itself.
Sure.
But Guardians of the Galaxy, Tron, and then Ratatouille. So I think all 3 of those were supposed to be ready for the 50th. And of course, because of COVID, we did not see that take place. So I think Ratatouille was the one sole survivor out of those that could potentially be done by October 1st.
Yeah.
And I think, they want something that will be a headliner for the celebration start, and Ratatouille it is.
Okay.
Again, that's just
no. It really makes sense, but it's just sad that it's like, welcome back to the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. Here's a rat ride that's exactly like one in Paris. Like that's not. It's new to us, but it's not like it's something like very uniquely special that we're going to get that no one else has. And technically, that's also like Epcot's birthday, but it's not something in Magic Kingdom.
right.
You know, that's a little sad too.
Yeah, I think it's serving two purposes. One, to give something opening on October 1st, but then also to kind of give Magic Kingdom a little breathing room.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, at least last time I checked, park passes for Magic Kingdom are not available. Like they are gone for the day. Now, I think that we'll eventually see some more open up, especially as, like we mentioned last week, all the great news about the vaccines, basically rolling out faster and more people being vaccinated. And the CDC came out this week saying that people who have been vaccinated can meet in small groups in I think enclosed places without their masks. Go. I mean, we are definitely moving.
Listen, if you're vaccinated, like this is the whole point, is so you can get back and do stuff like this, or if you feel confident enough to get back to it. I really have all ideas that we'll be at a much different place by October than we are right now.
Yeah, I think we will as well.
Yeah, so something to look forward to.
We're not there yet. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
We are on the precipice. I really do believe it. There's a lot of positivity, a lot of big things happening, at least in Florida right now.
Yep.
And so if you're out of state, we'd love to,
and clearly in California too, because I mean, we're talking about reopening dates.
And Disney's been putting the pressure on them for a long time. For this, but because they literally have an example, like Florida and California numbers are similar. The level of restrictions are very different. And Disney says, we've literally done this before already. We can do the same thing here. So it's very exciting. We have a lot of Disneyland friends, and I'm very happy for them to get back back home.
And speaking of our friends, we want to shout out to the people who are currently watching right now, who have already started making some comments. So we want to say thanks to Spencer for watching. And he asked a question earlier before the show started. He's like, WandaVision or Mandalorian? Both so good. Disney Plus.
Wow.
A great start. And I actually told him we were specifically talking about WandaVision, but he is absolutely correct.
But if you had to pick, which one would you pick?
About which was both? Well, which was better?
Which was better?
Which was better? And we'll get into it. I think WandaVision is special.
I think WandaVision might be better, but I think the possibilities of The Mandalorian, because it's a longer show, not a limited series, make it very valuable in how it connects to other parts of the franchise. So they serve very different purposes.
For sure. And then Michael, who watches every week. This is my favorite part of the week.
Aw,
we appreciate you. And then Christoph is watching. Netflix only has Cobra Kai and Stranger Things to compete with an already growing library of original content from Disney Plus. Disney, are definitely on their way to winning the streaming wars. We agree.
Well, we were just talking about this too before we started recording. From that shareholders meeting, Disney Plus crossed the 100 million subscriber threshold. 100. Yes. So like, there's some serious competition. I think people are going to all the streaming services are going to need to step it up. And we'll get to very specifically a show tonight as to why that is. But yeah, the numbers are not lying.
Yeah. And then we have our good friend Rob from Disney Blog watching with us tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hi.
Thanks for watching.
Yay.
And special shout out to all of our patrons who are watching, and especially our new patrons, which would be Kelly W, Kelly L, McKaylee C, Art Me Party, Allie D, and Mike. So thank you guys for watching and subscribing to our Patreon and for being patrons Once again, if you want to support the podcast, you can do that for as little as $2 a month. Come find us on patreon.com/Imagineers. You can check out the different tiers of memberships that we have, and each patron is included in our monthly giveaways where we give away cool prizes. And I need to find it real quick. So stall for a minute while I find the photo from Stephanie. I just thought about it, but
okay.
She has won the Patreon giveaway twice.
Yeah.
And she sent us a photo of both of them together, and I thought it was funny.
What can I stall us with? Did you guys watch that Oprah interview?
Wow.
I'll never watch The Crown the same way again.
Meanwhile, the Crown producers are like,
should we keep they're supposed to stop after 2 more seasons, I think, but maybe they'll keep going because it's getting crazy. What else is happening in the world? What else can we talk about?
I think I have it.
How about okay.
Yeah, keep going. Going.
I don't, how about that St. Patrick's Day next week, right? How about that green? I don't know what's happening.
I almost have it.
Did you guys hear about that time? I know something we could talk about. Matt and I are going to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Oh yeah. So
that's what we'll talk about. This is a very recent development. We've been joking about it for a while that Matt and I are going to do that because he's done it. I'm a scaredy cat. So I have a friend who texted me and said that she's getting vaccinated very soon, and her friends are going to be going. They want to go to Halloween Horror Nights. They're like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Fine." I guess that's like the final sign that means I should do it. So another reason to sign up for our Patreon, again, for as little as $2 a month. That may be some special content that we show only to our patrons. So that'll be really fun and scary. And I don't really want to do it, but I'll do it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right.
It's going to be scary.
I don't know why it's not wanting to download, but I'm just going to share my other screen. So
okay.
Hopefully you'll be able to see it. So there's the child Funko Pop bobblehead with the freshly brewed butterbeer in the mug. So,
love it. Love it. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Hope that was worth the wait.
Yeah, because I'm not good at stalling. I was like, what's happening right now? Nothing. I'm just too excited about tonight's topic. That's all that's filling my mind. I don't want to go off on a tangent and spoil our conversation before it's time for that.
Well, speaking of spoilers, this episode is going to be full of them. So if you have not watched WandaVision, we will see you next week.
Yeah.
So, and also, have you been living under a rock? And go watch it right now. What are you doing? So,
yeah.
Well,
hard to avoid those spoilers.
So we're going to go ahead and start. So you've had your warning. We're going to talk about it a little bit or a lot. So, Susie, your thoughts? I mean, where do we even begin with this?
I think we should begin at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Sound of music. I really do think we should start at the beginning because remember way back when Disney Plus, or when Disney was announcing Disney Plus shows, and this was on the list, I was very confused. I was like, I don't need a show about Wanda and Vision. And then that first trailer where you could see how kind of trippy it was going to be really, really changed the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember your first reaction for the show.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Because we did a full episode from that presentation where they just listed everything.
Yeah.
And this one, I was like, this one's going to be different. And
well, had Endgame happened already?
Yeah.
Or Endgame had happened, Infinity War had happened.
Yeah. Yes. This was all post Infinity War.
So that's why I was very confused. I thought, well, Vision is dead. So why do we need this show? But then that trailer really showed us that like what kind of show we were going to get, and it was so bizarre. And I don't know anything about this era in the comics. I have done my best to stay away from reading up on possibilities or fan theories, which we'll get to later.
There were a couple of storylines that they were, I think, pulling from. House of M was the most popular one, I think, that people were associating it with. And, you know, if you're not into comics, that's fine. I didn't read a whole lot of comics, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know the major storylines within those comics. And I remember them being a big deal.
Well, seeing Vision alive and seeing them in different era costumes in the trailer really set up the premise that this is going to really play into a more meta thing, especially leading into the next Doctor Strange movie. Yes.
Oh, plugging in the laptop. Yeah, that would be bad.
I'm not gonna have that happen again. So we actually watched the first 2 episodes, remember, for our like Friday night Disney Plus movie night. We did the first 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was very smart of them to release 2 episodes at once because it was so weird what was going on, rather than spreading it out over like 4 weeks, because the first like 3 episodes there was no explanation of what was going on. They only had that over 2 weeks because they did 2 at once. So I thought that was really good to like try to keep people interested and hooked. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Engaged is the right word. How about you? What were your initial like ideas as to what was happening? Because this was really weird.
So, I mean, even before this show started, I had a hint. I mean, I had a hunch that they were doing kind of the House of M storyline where essentially Wanda does kind of lose her mind and kind of goes crazy and creates all this chaos.
Including children.
Yes, including children. So I knew where the potential of it was going.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people were just kind of turned off on the television sitcom thing for the first few episodes.
I was obsessed with it.
I know a lot of people were like bailing, like, all right, this is too slow, I'm out. And I told them, like, just wait.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we even got an answer to that.
Yeah.
Of why that was taking place. It wasn't just to be stylistically cool or
which it was such an ode to
it was cool
to different eras of television. So I think we should back up real quick and just like kind of sum up set the scene for what we're going to literally be talking about. So the show starts off, Wanda and Vision are basically living in the Dick Van Dyke Show, black and white. What's going on? There's some weird thing with their powers. There's neighbors who act a little strange. Next episode, very bewitched in terms of the era that it's mimicking. There's a magic show, and then there's some people like trying to communicate to Wanda over a radio, and you have absolutely no idea what's happening. Why from episode to episode are we moving through the decades? Literally the set's changing, the clothes are changing, their hair is changing, cars, like everything is era accurate. It's so that really set the stage to show that something bigger is going on here, and this is not just a stylistic decision.
Right. And they literally went from decade to decade with the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. They hit all of those sitcoms in different episodes. So that was kind of cool to see. And again, there was a reason behind it that we found out in the second to last episode, where, that is what Wanda and her family did on the night that her parents died. Like they watched the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, they loved watching those classic American sitcoms. I also kind of assumed that it was a way that helped them because they said English at this point, like during the night, that it maybe helped them like learn their English or be exposed to American culture through sitcoms. So, and the role that played with her family. And then you're right, literally that's the night that her parents died. And what eventually is what led to her and her brother's radicalization, where they got their powers through Hydra and everything. So that is just a core part of Wanda's being, and it manifested itself into how she literally took over a town. But this wasn't just Wanda and Vision. There was also SWORD, FBI, some returning characters. You want to talk about that aspect a little bit?
I mean, Monica Rambeau.
I know.
Man, what a cool character.
And she came back from the blip. That was awesome, seeing the blip from someone coming back rather than like Endgame, where we saw it from people who stayed behind, like the Avengers.
Yeah, and so on a side note, I'm excited to see what they do with her for future shows and movies, because now she essentially has pretty phenomenal power.
Yeah. Oh, she's got to be in Captain Marvel too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Because if anyone doesn't understand who that was, why are you listening at this point if you don't want that spoiled? But she was the little girl who was Maria's daughter in Captain Marvel, who was Carol's friend. So Carol's friend's daughter.
Yes, and now she's older. Her mother has passed away. Her mother was part of SWORD. Well, now SWORD. And Monica's just kind of jumping into this. She's come back from the blip or the snap or whatever you want to call it. And this is her first appearance after that. And we see throughout the beginning of the few episodes of this series where the time she first went in to Westview, the Hex, and then when Wanda kicked her out, and then she goes back in, it has and Darcy, it's great to see Darcy again. Darcy, tells her, this has changed the genetic makeup of her body. And I think has enacted some abilities that she did not have before.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who. I don't want to look up who she's supposed to be, or if it's a nod to something, or what any of that could be. So that's a huge kind of wild card. It's also just funny to see, like, there's so many little Easter eggs in this show. When she meets Jimmy Woo, who we first met in Ant-Man, he does this little like card trick with his business card and gives it to her, which is really funny because in Ant-Man and Wasp, Ant-Man does the same thing with, like, he's learning card tricks because he's on house arrest. So that's how he's like passing time. So that's just like a cute little thing that they throw throughout the show. Yeah. And there's a lot of instances like that. I think primarily with the commercials that we see throughout the show. So each episode there is a commercial in WandaVision, which is the name of the fictional show that they're in, and Darcy and Maria and everyone have like plugged into a broadcast frequency, and they're watching what's happening in this town that Wanda has essentially taken over. And there's occasionally commercials, but each product in the commercial or the thing that it's representing, and I figured most of them out except one, the kid on the island. I don't know what that one meant, but most of them are callbacks to the kid who starved to death on the island. Yeah. But most of them are callbacks to other things from Wanda's life. So the actress in the commercial, the actor and actress are the same actor and actress who play her parents in the show. There's the first one, which I just think is so brilliant, is a brand for paper towels called Lagos, which is the name of the city at the beginning of Civil War, where Wanda accidentally blew up a building trying to protect Captain America. So
for big messes.
Yeah. Which is just hilarious.
The Hydra soap. The
Hydra
soap was one of my favorite ones.
That's a good one.
If you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I believe Coulson mentions that Hydra, one of their, mind control things, was actually soap, and once it got through the skin.
So it's so clever. There's
So clever.
a lot of layers to this. But yeah, so the whole thing is premised around why Maria's brought there is Jimmy Woo from the FBI has a missing person, and who's gone off the radar or witness protection, and they're now missing. So he goes to the city to find where they're supposed to be, and there's no one in town, and he has a weird feeling it won't go in the city. Here's what we still don't know: who was the person in witness protection? I've seen a lot of, and I try not to look at theories, but just occasionally, like, people will mention, like, on TikTok or Twitter, like, who is it? There's different ideas, and we'd love to hear from you guys, because I think that's a crucial question from the show that was not answered.
Jeremy says there were also references to the Infinity Stones. Yes, there was. So, yeah, there were so many Easter eggs in this show. It was great.
It's gonna need like multiple reviews, like rewatches to catch it, and it's very rewatchable because of all those little things.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna get to the point of what I really liked about it.
Yeah,
it's so different than your typical superhero story, which, good or bad, are kind of recycled plots. There's a good guy that fights the bad guy, and then there's a big fight at the end, and then everything's great, and then we repeat for the next movie, and that's fine because you do get different characters and different storylines, origin stories, and I think that's what. And we actually read a really good article that kind of alluded to this week, that why do we always settle for the things that are familiar?
Right.
And why are people upset when the things we expect to happen don't happen?
If you want to argue this idea with me on social media, you guys go right ahead. But I think that's why people didn't like The Last Jedi, but that's neither here nor there. But I think it can be, I sincerely think it can be applied here. So the article Matt's referencing is from Collider.com. It's written by Matt Goldberg, and it's called WandaVision Failed to Deliver Things That Were Never Promised to Me. And I think
so great.
The whole thing is written from a very sarcastic point of view, and it's wonderful. The basic premise is, why did WandaVision have a story that didn't meet any of the fan theories that I came up with because I wanted to show off my comic book knowledge? And it's like, Marvel doesn't owe that to you. Creators don't owe fans meeting fans' expectations. What they owe is character development that pushes characters in the right direction and serves a bigger purpose, especially in a universe like Marvel. I also saw a quote, and I cannot remember who said it. Was a producer or a director from the show. And I guess another big spoiler alert, Mephisto is not in the show.
Right.
House of M did not end up being a plot. Everyone thought it was going to be, and it wasn't a thing. And he said that there is no villain in WandaVision. The big baddie is grief. That's his exact quote. And that is so powerful to see.
This show touched on stuff that we haven't really dealt with, especially in superhero movies, at least to this extent. Of course, there is grief and anger in some of the storylines. I remember Civil War, like when Tony finds out how his parents actually died. That was a very strong emotional response, but you have this in every single episode, and it's just the theme of grief and dealing with it and coping with the loss. And oh man, the writing was so good.
It's brilliant.
The acting was so good. And I think that one of the best lines in any Marvel show, television show, or movie was in this season, and it was Vision, of course. Vision with all of the great
philosophy.
But I mean, but what is grief if not love persevering?
It's brilliant. So I think everything that we like about the show, we can go ahead and just get out of the way by explaining how Wanda created this world is purely out of her grief. And so we see there is, I guess the closest thing to a villain is Agatha,
Right.
who, you know, is this witch. And then we eventually see Wanda take on the actual, finally become the Scarlet Witch, take on those powers, start to learn, literally absorb Agatha's powers.
Because she's always been Wanda.
Yeah.
Like we know she's the Scarlet Witch, but
they hadn't said it.
Actually been said. So we did have that reveal, so to speak. So
yeah, and we'll, you know, when we get to the end, we'll say like, what does the final scene and everything the end actually mean moving forward? But just back to this idea of grief, Wanda is very powerful. And instead of having her being controlled by something like House of M or someone else, like, you know, manipulating her, this whole thing was born out of her grief. This isn't the real Vision. This is a version of Vision that she created. These aren't like actual, they are children, but all of this exists in this superficial bubble of a world she created out of her grief. And I think it's very powerful and a beautiful character study that there is no like, there's no allegory. There's no comparison of like, well, this actually means this. It's literally just grief. And like, who can't relate to that in some way or another? And I think that's just really a huge thing, that there's not always a bad guy, because, you know, you and I aren't fighting Mephisto, but everyone struggles with grief on some level or another. And to see that makes it so much more relatable, and a character that everyone can just sympathize with so much more. And by the way, who knew how much we all needed more Vision in our life? Paul Bettany, holy crap. I never not liked Vision, but he kills it. His acting and the character itself means so much more, because we're viewing the whole show through the lens of Wanda.
Right. And the Vision versus Vision scene was pretty great. So
yeah, that also was like very meta, when he's like, are you who's Vision? And there's the ship of whatever conversation. And yeah. So by the way, where is that other Vision?
Guess we'll find out.
There's a lot. So you want to talk about what some of those plot lines mean moving forward for the rest of the MCU?
I think the biggest takeaway, because we don't know anything, they can do it. They can do whatever. We thought that we just thought that this was going in a direction that, you know, was
especially when Pietro showed up, or Pietro, and we're like, they're bringing in Fox and
red herring,
the actual multiverse, because now X-Men are here, and that was a red herring.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think that's such a troll.
So I think the biggest takeaway is how powerful Wanda is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if some people realize how powerful she is. Mm-hmm. And Agatha said it, the Scarlet Witch is even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Mm-hmm. And the Sorcerer Supreme currently is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So
that's going to make an interesting sequel.
This is going to be an interesting sequel, because Doctor Strange was, I believe, originally supposed to release this May.
Yeah.
But now we have to wait another year.
Which is okay, because we have Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I think Loki. I think the show Loki might even play into it a little bit, just because my thought is this isn't the real Loki. This is a different timeline Loki. So things are a little messed up there.
Yeah, with the Tesseract.
But I think that's a great point regarding Doctor Strange, and the final credit scene.
Okay.
Let's back up. There's two. There's a mid-credit and a post-credit. So
let's remember what the mid-credit one was. I remember that
with Monica in the theater. And the scroll.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's it. I don't know. This is a big point that I feel like people aren't talking about. The credit scene at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, when it's revealed that Nick Fury is not on Earth, he's been replaced by a Skrull, which are the green, like shape-shifting characters from Captain Marvel. Number one, why? And number two, when was he replaced? The going fan theory is sometime around Age of Ultron, which is whatever. But then we learn that he needs to talk to Monica in the mid-credit scene. So she has to be in Captain Marvel too. I think that's when all of that stuff is going to get resolved. Yeah. And then the final credit scene where Wanda is really exploring those powers.
Yes. Let's talk about that for a minute. And I think that's kind of my last big point. Well, let me hear your thoughts on it.
So we hear she looks like she's just walking out of a cabin, like she's in isolation. Maybe she just wants to be alone for a while, which is relatable. I mean, opening up the plans and seeing Vision to grow old on the house plot where they were supposed to live is upsetting. Wanda lost her parents, her brother, Vision, just really the rest of the Avengers kind of moved on with their lives after Endgame, but she couldn't. So it's like, okay, so she wants to catch up and relax some. That's fine. But then you see that she is basically in kind of like a almost like some kind of different little, what is it from Doctor Strange where he's in the mirror world? Projection. Yes, she's astral projecting herself, doing making tea, walking around this cabin, and then we see her in her new Scarlet Witch outfit, which is incredible. And you hear her son, one of her boys, calling out to her. They are definitely somewhere in another dimension, and she's going to try to get back. And I think that's really going to screw things up with everything else going on in the world, because we're looking at two universes colliding. And I think that's what Doctor Strange is going to try to have to fix.
So my biggest takeaway from this scene was what she was actually accomplishing. So if you go back and watch Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange does his astral projection, but he can only do it while he is resting, while he is unconscious, while he is sleeping. Wanda is doing it while she is awake.
Yeah.
And moving.
She's multitasking.
She is more powerful than Doctor Strange. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. She's very dangerous.
Yeah.
And whatever she's doing, gaining knowledge. I forgot the name of the book.
Oh, the book that Agatha had.
Yes.
Of all those spells. First of all, can we also just recognize how funny it is? Because everyone was like, hexagons, because the town of Westview is shaped like a hexagon. That's why they called it the hex. But also a spell is called
the hex.
It's called a hex. Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, so she's definitely, I think Agatha, I wonder where Agatha's power came from. Because the way that they move their hands, and both of them, and she mentions the Sorcerer Supreme, I wonder if they're also drawing power from another universe, which is what Doctor Strange does. So,
thank you, Nicole. The Darkhold.
There it is. See, our listeners are the best.
Fill in those gaps. Thank you very much.
So she's potentially drawing power not only from her own powers, which come from an Infinity Stone, but whatever Agatha's power source is from that book. She's got a lot going for her.
Yeah, when she put up the runes in the sky, I'm like, that's a boss move right there.
I was wondering why she was firing at the perimeter. I was like, well, she has a really bad aim, or something else is going on. Yeah, that was really clever.
Yeah, good stuff. So this, I think a lot of people always thought that Wanda in the MCU was kind of left out and kind of like the oddball out, at least the way that she was presented. Just didn't
I felt that way.
Yeah,
I felt that way, but it really frustrated me because she was so powerful. I already knew she was she almost took Thanos out by herself in Endgame, right. And I think that finally showed everyone that well, okay, she can handle herself.
But we have a whole new Wanda, and hats off to Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn and literally the entire
Oh my
cast.
gosh, Catherine Hahn, yeah.
Phenomenal acting like through that entire series. And again, the range of emotions that Wanda went through. Somebody actually went and grabbed like just screenshots of all of Wanda's different facial expressions. I'm like, that's good acting. So
yeah, it's really good. I felt good to have some Marvel content. It'd been a long time since we had Marvel content.
And I mean, we're essentially getting back to back, right?
Yeah, because this Friday is the making of WandaVision, which is going to be fascinating. And then next Friday is Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then Loki. But between those two, Black Widow comes out. Yeah.
Which I believe from the Disney shareholders meeting, they're releasing in theaters only. I think. I'm pretty sure that's what I read. I can't remember. It's been a long day. But
I don't know. Well, maybe they'll do that, and maybe then like a few weeks after they'll also release it on Disney Plus as an option. By the way, sidebar, I went and saw Raya and the Last Dragon in theaters.
Did you?
There were 5 groups of people in our theater, so we were very spread out. Y'all, that movie is so good.
I haven't been able to watch it yet. I haven't read anything on it.
Oh, Matt, it's so good. No, it's so good. It's the premise, the world building, the character development. If they could literally take that same plot, put it in live action, and like adult it up a little bit, just in terms of like action, not like adult scenes, and it would still be incredible. Like, but it's on like a younger level. It's solid. It's perfect for all ages. But yeah, I went to theaters. It felt nice, and Kelly Marie Tran was incredible.
Yeah. Spencer says Raya is incredible. So it's on my to-do list. I definitely want to see it soon. So
yeah, it's different than I think anything Disney has done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
Because it's not a princess movie, and it's even more, it's a whole, like, I know Brave is a princess movie, but it's not a princess movie. But this is more action-y. I don't know how to describe it. It's one of the best things they've done in a long time, honestly.
So I've done my best to stay away from the plot. It almost looks like a Disney Tomb Raider. With that
yeah, I think that's fair. For
Lara Croft, I don't know.
For older kids, yeah. I mean, even younger kids would like it. I think it may be a little too much for your daughter, but it's pretty. It's gorgeous. She may enjoy that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm definitely looking forward to see it, and I for the most part trust your movie reviews, except for Star Wars occasionally, but
What do we disagree on?
I actually didn't think the last the Rise of Skywalker was that bad, but that was just me. That's okay though.
All right, well, truth comes out. I see how it is.
Yeah, we agree with most everything else though.
But you guys let us know what you thought about WandaVision. This is a game changer. I think Disney took a huge risk by putting this one out first, not just because that was the plan, because it was supposed to lead into Doctor Strange, but because creatively this is unlike anything they'd ever done before. And I think it paid off big time. So what was your favorite part? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you also want a full-time series in the 1950s of Wanda and Vision a la Dick Van Dyke? Because I do. I loved it. I thought it was so cute.
It was a lot of fun. That was a great limited run series. There is no season 2. That's it. It's done. Over with. So the next thing up for Wanda is probably the Doctor Strange movie.
Well, the next 2 series are also like that. It's just a one-off, I believe, a 1-season thing. Which a lot got done. I was very concerned about like the Kenobi series that comes out next year of being a limited run, but they've proven
in production
they can. Don't get me started. They've really proven that they can get a lot done and just
Ewan McGregor in the Jedi robe just
brightens my day.
Brightens your day.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Bright Suns. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, speaking of movies, so that's it for our WandaVision review. So if you fast forwarded, this is where we end our discussion. If you haven't watched it.
Welcome back.
Welcome back for the last 5
Here's
minutes.
Social media handles.
So we will be having our annual weekly
A little different
Friday night movie, like we do every Friday night on Discord. You can find our Discord link in our link tree, which can be found on all of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So come join us there. Whatever social media platform you like to use most, we are there. And then in the link tree is actually the link to our Discord channel where we watch movies, and then we talk about other Disney things throughout the week as well. We've been discussing all of the things that happened today with Disneyland reopening and Ratatouille being delayed. We talked about the Epcot music loop, which we didn't talk about tonight.
I'm still not ready for that. Can't.
But this coming Friday night, we'll be watching, and I think this is a Hidden Figures. Actually, I guess Hidden Figures was one as well. But we typically stick to Disney movies. But since Disney owns the Fox library now, we're going to start pulling in a couple gems here and there from Fox's library of films. And we'll be watching one of my favorites, The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I've never seen this.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
This is going to be so fun. Look at his eyebrows. Good. What a cutie.
Yeah, it's great. George Clooney and Meryl Streep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, like the Owen Wilson. There are so many names that you would recognize as characters, as animals in this movie, and it's going to be a great time. So come join us Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come join us a few minutes before, and then once it hits 8 o'clock, hit play on Disney Plus, and then we'll start commenting on the movie. Christoph says Anastasia needs to be watched soon. So yeah, I'd be down for that.
I've never seen Anastasia.
Susie, you never watched Anastasia growing up?
I didn't want to.
No?
No. You want to know why? I'm such a snot. I knew it wasn't a Disney movie.
Wow.
We just never watched it, and then I was like, "What is this? This isn't Disney." I know the true story of Anastasia.
Let's not talk about the true story. That's sad.
I'm not. I'm just saying I know that more than I know the cartoon.
Yeah.
So.
Bartok is one of my favorite characters. You'll see why. He's pretty great.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, yes, please. He's the comedic relief in the movie. So anyway. So come join us on Discord this Friday night. We'll watch Fantastic Mr. Fox. And if you are a fan of the podcast, but you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Go subscribe. You can find us on podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere that you listen to your podcast on any platform, whether it's in the car or if it's at home, listening through a smart device. You can find us by searching for the Imagineers Disney Podcast and leave a rating if you love the show and tell us what you think. And we take emails each and every week on ideas for episodes of the show. So we are, we got some fun ones lined up coming up here soon. We're actually in some talks with some listeners who are going to potentially come on and talk about some things that I think will be beneficial for you as well.
You guys are going to love it.
It's going to be great. So, but we appreciate you guys. It is always a pleasure each and every week to do this podcast. Susie and I have a great time interacting with you guys, and we look forward to coming at you next week with another episode. But until then, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.
There's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. We're always exploring and experimenting.